Good morning. Right now it is 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock on a Thursday. It's February 13th. And guys, I need to remind you, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. That's a big deal. If you forget, you may get in trouble. And so you need to make your plans accordingly. I have a special guest in studio. I have Mrs. Sarah Ward. She is Mrs. Clear Lake. What's up, Sarah?
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
I'm good.
So I got connected with you through Kelly Williams.
Yes.
How do you know Kelly Williams?
I met her through a mutual friend.
Okay.
So, yeah.
She's really cool. She's one of the nicest people maybe ever.
She's amazing. You meet her and it's like instant connection.
Always has a smile on her face, and I've never heard her talk like bad or even about any situation or anybody.
No,
always positive.
We had coffee and I left and I was like, I feel like we've been friends for 10 years. And so,
yeah.
Love her.
She's very cool. All right. If you're watching on social media, you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you're going back on Spotify, feel free to share the link or the stream with somebody, share it on your Facebook feed, and then let me know what you got going on. You can send me a text, 346-704-1806. I'm about to throw us on the FM, and we're going to get into Sarah's story and find out when the competition for Mrs. Texas is. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy. I got Sarah here in studio with me. What's up, Sarah? How are you?
Hey, good morning. I'm great.
Sarah, tell me a little bit about yourself, and then you have a current title right now that's really cool, too.
I do. So my current title is Mrs. Clear Lake 2020, and I will be competing in Mrs. Texas in May.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Yeah. I have a husband and a child that's 5.5, a son. Live in Clear Lake, born and raised in Deer Park, and yeah.
So you're from Deer Park?
From Deer Park.
You went to school there?
Absolutely.
I got a friend who works there right now, Joe Perez. He handles some of their media stuff, but he runs a site called Texas Chronicles, History, Mystery, and Adventure.
Yes, he actually just did a little segment on my sister-in-law's cafe not too long ago.
Oh, what's her cafe called?
Red Oak Cafe.
Ah, that's your sister-in-law?
Uh-huh, Kim. Yeah.
Yeah, and they opened up one in Alvin, I think, and there's the other one is in League City.
Yes, on the Friendswood side, yeah.
Yeah. Are there plans? You have the inside scoop. Are there plans for any other Red Oak cafes?
I don't know. I can't say.
Man.
I know.
Have you ever competed in their pancake challenge that they have?
No, I can barely finish one. But I will say, there's nothing on the menu that I don't love. Like, it's amazing. Yeah. I love their pecan coffee.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Good. So good.
What's your favorite thing to eat there?
Breakfast or lunch?
Both.
Okay. Yeah. Breakfast, pancakes by far.
Okay.
Lunch, they have this thing called a power bowl. So it has it comes with kale, but I do it with spinach.
Mm-hmm.
So it has spinach, brown rice, chicken. It has this homemade sesame sauce. It's so good.
Cool. And it breaks my heart, but I don't think they're open for dinner, right?
No.
It's breakfast, lunch.
Breakfast and lunch, yeah. Close at 3.
But that's the way to do it, though. If you're going to have a restaurant, especially with family and everything else, you can kind of, plan accordingly. As a business owner, there's always stuff going on, but still.
But I do wish that they were open for dinner, too.
Yeah, me too. Just me being greedy.
I know, right?
All right.
I agree.
So you're from Deer Park.
Yep.
You grew up there. What was that like? Your experience, if you could go back and talk about it some. Did you enjoy it? Small town feel or what?
Gosh. I had the best childhood. I really did. My dad worked at a chemical plant. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. My parents are still living in the same house that I grew up in. I have an older brother, younger sister. It was a good childhood.
Yeah. Did you compete in sports, or were you in any extracurricular activities there at Deer Park?
Yes. So I was in sports all through elementary, junior high. When I got to high school, I decided to do drill team, so didn't really do sports in high school. But.
If you had to explain drill team, because before we went on air, I asked you, we were talking about a documentary, cheerleading on Netflix, and I said, were you in cheerleading? You were like, oh, no.
No.
On the drill team. What's the difference?
Drill team's more dance. Cheer, if you asked me to jump, I don't think I could get 5 inches off the ground. So.
Yeah, and watching some of that documentary, there's some athletes in there because they're getting way off the ground.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I told my husband, I was like, we have to watch this. Everyone's talking about it. So he was like, okay, whatever, We turned it on, and he was hooked too. I mean, when the season was over, I was like, oh, that's it? That's the end?
Yeah. You think they'll make it a season 2? Have they already talked about that? Have you heard anything?
Oh, I don't know the inside scoop, but I would assume they would.
It just makes sense.
They would be dumb if they didn't, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the reason we started talking about that is because that takes place in Corsicana.
Yes.
And you are going to be competing in the next level. So you're Mrs. Clear Lake right now.
Mrs. Clear Lake, yep.
And you're going to be competing in Mrs. Texas.
Yeah, May 2nd.
And
in Corsicana.
That's in Corsicana.
Mm-hmm.
Is it at like a conference center or a hall, or where's that?
It's like at the theater. So
Okay.
Corsicana is like an old town feel. So they have an old theater right there on Main Street, pretty much. And so that's where it'll be.
Okay, I think I saw that in the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it's gonna be?
I've only driven through Corsicana to get through to Dallas.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would assume there's not much there.
Corsicana reminds me of Tropicana, and I think of the orange juice. That's what I think of, and I'm like, Corsicana sounds delicious. I just want to like.
You want one now?
Yeah, just Tropicana orange juice. So that's what I think
funny.
of. Yeah. So you're from Deer Park. You grew up over there. Ended up, competing in a competition. I think this would be considered like a beauty pageant. What was your first experience with competing in anything like that?
So my first pageant was Miss Pasadena Rodeo. And my mom, so I grew up modeling like at Pasadena Town Square Mall. You know how they used to have those runway shows in the middle of the mall, just randomly?
Yes.
That was me.
Okay.
Loved it. It was fun. I didn't do it really full time, but I did it here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mom signed me up for Miss Pasadena Rodeo, and she's like, just get up there and model. Just do your thing. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they crowned me, and I was like, wait, what? This was the pageant? I had no idea.
You thought it was more.
I thought it was just modeling rodeo outfit. Like, I didn't know. And so, so I'm Miss Pasadena Rodeo 2003.
That's awesome. And that was your first experience doing a beauty pageant?
Yeah. And then now this will be my second pageant. So I'm excited.
Is it fair to say, at least in that instance, that, a pageant is just like modeling with judging?
I think there's more to it.
Okay.
I think that they look not just at looks and appearances, but what's inside and what you stand for and how you present yourself and all of that.
Okay. So a lot of people will have like a stance or a cause that they believe in. What is yours?
Mine is type 1 diabetes.
Why is that important to you?
So I got diagnosed with type 1 when I was 16. And so I always tell people, instead of a car, I got, needles instead.
Yeah.
And so it was really rough for me. It drew a dividing line within my family. It was not, when I turned 16, it was not good.
Yeah.
So, I just, it was a struggle.
Yeah. How was that adjusting? Because 16 is still, that's a kid.
Well, it was hard for me because, when we got back from the hospital, after I got diagnosed, my mom cleaned out the whole kitchen, threw away everything that had junk food,
And you have
sugar.
siblings, too.
And I have siblings, and they were mad at me.
Are they older or younger?
I have an older brother, younger sister. And I basically put the blame on myself. Like, I did this to my family. I, caused a problem. And so it was really, really
Yeah.
tough.
So somebody who has type 1 diabetes, what does life look like? What do you have to cut out or what changes?
So with type 1, it's all in moderation. So if I want ice cream, then you just do 1 scoop instead of eating the whole half gallon.
Which is hard to do.
It's really
for
hard to
me.
do. So I don't really follow like a strict diet, I would say, but I do count my carbs. And for every 10 carbs, I take 1 unit of insulin. So when I was first diagnosed, I was on shots. So that meant every time I ate, I took a shot. Nowadays, I'm on an insulin pump, so it does it for me. But yeah, as a 16-year-old having food problems, not food problems to begin with, but no 16-year-old wants to, have to eat or watch what they're eating, kind of thing.
What kind of signs, popped up in your life to even, know that you got diagnosed? Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually went on a cruise with 2 of my childhood best friends and their families. And I had to pee a lot. And it was like, how when you have to go to the bathroom, like your mind tells you, okay, I got to go to the bathroom within like 10 minutes. Or, you kind of know like, okay, I got to go.
Yeah.
By the time my brain told me, I was already going. So as 16, I was like wetting the bed on the cruise. And I spent the bathroom. And I knew something wasn't right. But my parents weren't there. And so I just kind of played it off all week. And when I got back, I told my mom, I was like, look, like something's seriously wrong. And so she knew right away. I didn't even know what diabetes was.
Yeah.
So
is it common to pop up in teenagers? Is that something that shows up later? Does it just depend, random?
It depends. So it's an autoimmune disease. So that means something attacked my pancreas, killed it off. In my case, I got the flu when I was 15. And so that's the only thing that we could like pin it to, So the flu basically attacked my pancreas, killed it off, and then now my pancreas doesn't work.
So as of right now, the only way to treat type 1 diabetes and live is through insulin and through
Insulin. Yeah, I'm insulin dependent for the rest of my life.
So every day you have to take some kind of
every
anything.
day, every time I eat, every time, this disease you don't turn off. So it's not one of those diseases where you can take a pill and then you move on with your life. There's many nights I don't sleep. Because I'm waking up with a low blood sugar. I got to get up and drink orange juice. I'm fighting highs, so I'm constantly drinking water, trying to get my blood sugar back down. So it's a constant battle. It's not easy.
Yeah, you mentioned being on a auto.
Mm-hmm,
what is that? What is that?
So it's a little thing. It's like 2x2. I change it out every 3 days. You fill it with insulin. I stick it to me, and then there's a needle that inserts in.
So it just stays in there.
Yes. So it's kind of like an IV.
Yeah.
I'd say. And with that, I have a little remote that talks to it. So when I eat, then I can just sit at the table and I click in how many carbs I eat, and it does the math for me.
What if you're wrong? I'm terrible at math.
Okay.
And I'm also bad at calculating how much. I mean, this is totally one serving, and then the ice cream's all gone.
Yeah. That's where it comes in. It's hard. You have to kind of you walk a fine line.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually listened to a podcast called Bold with Insulin, and they talked about you can always correct over, but just correct over enough to cover a juice box. So a juice box is 24 carbs. So I know if I take too much that my juice box that I have in my purse will cover what I just did.
You today, right now,
Mm-hmm.
Having this cause that you believe in and spreading awareness in a platform as, Mrs. Clear Lake, what would you go back and tell yourself at 16 years old?
Gosh, that life is not over. Life continues and you will get through it. It's not, you find the new normal. I guess that's a better way to say it,
Mm-hmm.
right? My life's not like yours or, my husband's, but I just deal with things as they come. Don't stress over the little things.
Yeah. How did you adjust with your family and specifically your siblings, finding that new normal?
Yeah. So diagnosed at 16, I moved out of my parents' house when I was 19. I didn't speak to them for probably about 5 years.
Really?
Yeah, it was really tough. And it wasn't because I didn't love them. It was more of as a mom now, I get where my mom was coming from of trying to protect your child, And at 16, it was like you didn't really want your mom there. You didn't want her telling you what to do and running everything for you. So it took me a while. I came back around about 23. So,
okay.
Yeah. It's all good now. I have a great relationship with my family. See my parents almost on a daily. Talk to my siblings all the time. So
sometimes I realize and I look back on situations my dad was right about everything.
When I moved back home when I was 23, moved back home for about a year, and I kept apologizing to them. I'm like, I'm so sorry that I treated y'all that, and I'm so sorry that I did not see it, your way. And
yes.
And finally, they looked at me. They're like, Sarah, stop. We get it. It's okay. Let's move on.
Yeah. So you moved out, and we talked a little bit about what you do for a career now. When did you, what is the career? When did you start it and why?
So I'm a hairstylist. I've been a hairstylist for 13 years. I decided my senior year of high school that I wanted to do cosmetology, and they offer it at the high school. And so
Deer Park High School.
Yeah. And normally you start at your junior year and then you finish your senior year and you graduate with your cosmetology license. But I was a year behind everybody because I decided my senior year. So we worked with the school and they decided to let me do it. So cool. I did, went to school in the morning for cosmetology, went back to the high school, and then went back up to the college for, because you do it at San Jack.
Yeah.
Back up for night school. So my senior year,
wow.
I was literally at school for all day.
Yeah.
All day. But I loved it. It was what I wanted to do.
Yeah. But you were also juggling, type 1 diabetes, not having it that long.
Yeah. In my senior year, my grandmother was really sick. So I was her number one caretaker. So I took care of her in between juggling school and all that.
Yeah. What is it about being a hairstylist and cosmetology that kind of drew you in? Did you have a friend that did it too? Or
I just thought, how cool is it to stand there and talk all day? That honestly. And then the more that I got into it, I'm so blessed with my clientele. They're my family. I've had most of them for 10 plus years. And I just, like we were talking about earlier, I mean, you just get to know them and their struggles. And, I'm a therapist. I love it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Talk them through it. You know what I mean? And just listen. And I love that.
That's
I wouldn't
cool.
trade it for
So you've been
anything.
doing that for 13 years now.
13 years.
You probably have some really interesting stories and some cool ones.
Oh
and
my gosh.
crazy
My mom
ones
tells
too.
me all the time, you should write a book. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, your clients are going to be reading that book. Are they
I know,
talking
that's
about
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you just like change one letter. All the characters are fictional. They're not you.
I made it all up. Yes, you.
Yeah. Oh, is there any way, and I can see a way, and maybe you would agree with this, but that being a hairstylist has prepared you for portions of being Mrs. Clear Lake and competing in Mrs. Texas?
I think so. I think just talking to people, and I love meeting new people. I love feeling that connection when you meet somebody that, you hear their story and you get to know the reason why they're behind everything and why, I just love to get out in the community and meet people,
Okay.
honestly.
Yeah.
My husband tells me all the time, like, I remember one time my son was little and I took him to the bathroom and I came back and me and this lady were talking all the way back to the table and he's
Best
like,
friends.
oh, you know her? And I was like, no, we just met. And he's like, seriously, Sarah? I'm like, well, her name's Sally. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, we're best friends now. We have
Yeah.
numbers and we're going on a cruise.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, so being in the, the Mrs. Clear Lake, Mrs. America like system, is that
Yeah.
the right way to say it?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
How do you qualify for that?
So, Mrs. Clear Lake, you have an application and you send in some pictures. And then from there, they pick you for your, I guess, area or division.
Yes.
And they only pick 50 in the state.
Yes.
So
Do you have to be like married? Do
you have to be married over 18. You don't necessarily have to have kids or anything like that.
Okay.
And there's no age limit, I don't think.
So you can be, 18 and up. You could be 100 years old.
Sure, I think so. I didn't check the limit, but I know it's 18 and up.
Okay.
I knew I wasn't too old.
Yeah.
So,
You're never too old to try new things.
No, never,
Yeah.
never. I'm always. My best friend told me the other day. She's like, Sarah, you're my biggest adventure in life. Like, she never knows what's next.
Yeah.
I love it.
You can be like if there was an age limit, it's like you're only allowed, at 75. We kind of cut it off for insurance purposes.
Hey, you know what? If you're 75 and want to get on that stage and rock it, I say go for it.
Yeah, then you can just doctor your birth certificate like the Little League World
Absolutely.
Series
Yeah.
scandals that have happened. Just like make it happen, whatever it takes. Don't let
Right?
anybody stand in the way of you and your dreams.
That's right.
Walking the stage. So right now it's 9:18 a.m. This is KHEA Radio.com, 99.5 Kickstart. I'm Gardy talking to Sarah Ward. She is the current Mrs. Clear Lake. Can we talk more about Mrs. Texas? When is that going to be? Is there any way that you are preparing? What do you know is going to happen? Do you know the layout already?
Oh my gosh. Where do I even start?
Yeah.
So I signed up for all of this as a bucket list thing. I've always wanted to do it for the past 4 years. I've printed out all the papers. And finally, my husband this year was like, just fill out the paperwork and send it in. I'm like, okay. So here I am a month later as Mrs. Clear Lake and moving forward. So preparation, I have a personal trainer. I have an interview coach. I have a walking coach. I have some friends that are helping me design everything. I have a photographer. I have sponsors.
That's a team. You have a squad behind
I have
you.
a whole team, and I am so grateful for every single one of them.
Are you trusting anybody to do your hair, or you're like, I got this one?
So I'm actually going to do my own hair and makeup, I think.
Yeah.
I have a friend who does pageants, and he's going to sit down with me and kind of give me, because it's different. It's different hair and makeup.
I was going to ask.
So,
It's a little bit different than just like your normal. I mean,
I
there's
think
so
I
many
have
different
it,
ways.
but I think I can fine tune it and make it a little bit better.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you watch a lot of YouTube tutorials on like trends and YouTube vloggers?
Yes.
My
So
wife
anything
does
that has
too.
to do with pageants,
Mm-hmm.
I have watched every single one of them.
Yeah.
And not that I want to copy or follow, but I take a little bit of everybody's taste and I make it my own. So I don't want to, copy anybody or I'm going to stay true to myself, but I want to be prepared
Yeah.
on
There's
what's to come.
there's also like a pageant way of doing things.
Yes.
You know?
So my interview coach, it's actually like almost like therapy. So he gave me like a list of like questions that they might ask you, and you have to write down why and just put it on paper really. And I didn't realize like all of it. Like what's your worst day, or what
Those are the kind of questions.
what's your favorite day? Like, and you have to answer it like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh gosh, like what is my favorite day?
What is your favorite day?
My favorite day is actually, besides my wedding day, is the day that I moved in with my husband after we got married.
Okay.
'Cause
That's
I felt,
fun. Yeah.
I felt at home and safe and complete. Like I felt like life is good.
How long have y'all been married now?
7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a good amount of time. Like you have, I feel it's safe to say you got it figured out. Although life changes like a little bit,
Yeah. My husband's great. He's an amazing person.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Is he from Deer Park as well? Where
He's
is he
from
from?
Deer Park, yeah.
Did he play sports? Did y'all know each other in high school?
So he's actually a little bit older than me.
Yeah.
He's 12 years older. So we met through like a family friend back in the day and lost contact for about 10 years or so. And then we reconnected and started dating.
Does he help you in different ways prepare for, Mrs. Texas?
No.
No?
So
because you don't let him, or
No.
because he's just like, hey,
my
you got
husband
this?
is a man of few words. So he's very supportive in the aspect of like, hey, I have this. Can you cover getting Easton from school? Or can you cover this? That part, yes, he's very helpful in. But like as far as like other things go, I'm like a take charge kind of person.
Yeah.
So I just do it.
Yeah. So my wife, she's an English major. And so there was points in a program that I was in, writing papers, and I would try and put all my ideas, out there. And then
Right.
she would help me just like kind of read through like this
Right.
needs work. But then I would find like, well, I really like it that way. The way that it was just like an interesting situation,
Yeah.
but she knew what she was talking about. I don't know. But yeah, sometimes it can be tricky working together. Living life together is, it's a breeze, or is,
Right.
as easy as it can be. And then you add a new element in like, hey, we're prepping for the pageant together. It might be fun.
On different things, like I said in my headshot picture, I'm like, okay, so which one do you like? And then he votes.
Yeah.
He's supportive on the back end of it.
And you're like, I like the other one better anyways.
Yeah. No, yeah, sometimes.
All right. So let's see. We got about 10 minutes left. Of course you're going to win, Mrs. Texas.
I sure hope so.
How cool would that be?
That would be amazing.
Yeah. When would the next the America pageant be?
So I'm not sure because I think like the dates kind of changed, but the last I heard, probably maybe August
Of this year?
I don't really know for a fact, but I know it's in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Have you been to Vegas?
I was 19, so I didn't really get to do anything fun. But yeah.
Yeah. What'd you go there for?
For a golf tournament for an ex. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you golf?
No.
Me either.
He did.
Me either. Golf tournament. Vegas has a lot of cool conventions, and that's when I went. I went for a convention for like broadcasting.
Yeah.
And it was legit. Like it was like floors of everything.
I would love to go back and see it as like an adult.
As Mrs. America.
Yeah, that would be super cool.
What would be the first, if you win, and when you win, Mrs. Texas.
Yes.
And then hopefully get to that Mrs. America in Vegas. What's the first thing that you would do after winning?
Come back and see you.
Hey, I'm going to schedule it in. So
yes.
I know we said in April, I think you're prepping, getting there, Corsicana, and then in May, the actual competition is.
May 2nd. Yep.
So let's see. I wonder what May 3rd is.
May 3rd's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday.
Yeah. But I could come in on May 4th.
I think May 3rd that's like my anniversary.
Oh, well, then no.
I'll be married for 6 years.
So, okay.
So,
congratulations.
Thank you. All right. So, hey, if you have any questions, I see Miss Jude said, hey, I'm listening from work. Thank you for taking the time to tune in. If you are watching on social media or Facebook, feel free to share this stream out. If you're listening on however you get your podcasts, you can text this link to somebody. And if maybe you want to support Sarah, you have some sponsors and some people that are helping make it possible around you. But what kind of sponsors do you have, and are you looking for more?
I'm always looking for more. Sponsors are amazing. The more that I can be out there in the community and support them, I think it's awesome. Right now, I have Adelaide's Boutique, which is dressing me for the week. I have Pookie Lashes, which is a client of mine who has a lash company. I have Marlowe Photography. She did my headshots. Hattie Now Designs is a jewelry line out of Clear Lake. One of my mom friends. She's amazing. Her stuff's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing all of my jewelry, my earrings. I'm
That's
trying to
cool.
think of who else. Red Oak Cafe, obviously. That's a
Yes.
given. Yeah, so
All right.
I'm always looking for sponsors, so reach out to me.
Yeah, here's a comment. This is from Lauren. She said, will you be able to watch the pageant? Is there somewhere to stream it or anywhere to watch it?
I'm not sure yet.
That'd be really cool if
I'm
they
not
did.
sure. I know afterwards it will be on YouTube, but other than that, I'm not sure. My social media on Instagram, it's Mrs. Ward 1122. I'm going to share as much as I can of that weekend as I as I possibly can.
Yeah.
So watch my stories.
Yeah.
Fun.
Do you, social media is a big part of promoting anything.
Mm-hmm.
You have a cause that you're spreading awareness about and,
Absolutely.
promoting the pageants and everything else. Have you found social media to be a good tool to use for like pageants?
So I'm not the best at social media, I will be honest. And most of my clients are like, you don't really post hair pictures. Well, that's not me. I'm more of family and friends. So most of my stuff is very family, friends, what I'm doing. This morning I did some Insta stories because I was coming here, things like that. So I make it more personal than I guess.
Do you sometimes pepper them in though? Like a hair, like if you like it?
If I like it and I do it and I remember most of my clients, I'm like, bye. And then I'm like, oh man, should have taken a picture. So if I remember.
Yeah. So Sarah, you're also a hairstylist. Can you let me know, like, what are some trends that are coming for 2020 or you've seen people come in and ask, whether that's some kind of dyeing or a style haircut?
Yeah. So like the brighter highlights around the face frame, the ombre is more going out and the highlights are coming back.
Okay.
Which I love.
That's cool.
Yeah.
When's like Jennifer Aniston's haircut going to come back and be like the big thing? Remember
I don't
in
think
the 90s?
I don't think it ever went away.
Okay,
to be
so still
honest.
here.
Yeah. I think she's like everyone's still rocking that. You don't know how many times I get her picture in my chair. And I'm like, she's beautiful. Like, but your hair won't do that.
Yeah.
So.
And then being a hairstylist yourself and being, able to know how to do stuff, are you tempted to change your hair up? Like all the time? No?
No. I am the most conservative hairstylist you will ever meet. I have never had pink hair. I have never gone crazy. I've been blonde, or this is the darkest really I've been.
Really?
Yes. I'm not the adventurous one at all.
Yeah.
I've cut my hair off once.
Like how short was it?
Maybe like above the shoulders.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, something like that. After my son was born, and that was like
make life easier.
Yeah, I thought so, but no, you have to fix it every day.
Yeah,
because you can't pull it up. I wear my hair. Everyone calls it a Sarah bun. It's like my bun on top of my head. It's kind of like messy.
Yeah,
but yeah, I love my hair.
Yeah,
in a Sarah bun.
Cool. So we're talking to Sarah Ward. She is the current Mrs. Clear Lake from Deer Park, Texas.
Yes.
And is there anything else you'd like to share, or maybe plug your social media link if someone wants to follow you?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram, Mrs. Ward 1122. I'll give you a follow back.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
cool.
just excited, nervous, all of the above, but I'm feeling more prepared every day.
Awesome.
So.
All right. So if you want to follow her, make sure you go do that. If you are maybe a vendor or you want to sponsor, you can also do that as well. She is a supporter, spreading awareness for type 1 diabetes.
Absolutely.
Having it, yourself and living what life is. I'm sure you'd do great, like going and speaking at schools or anything like that.
I would love to. I've mentored a couple little girls over the years, just to kind of cope with things and get on their level with what they're going through.
Yeah.
Because a parent can talk to them, but until you're going through it and actually feel what we're feeling, it's hard.
It's different.
Yeah. It's a lot different.
So right now, it's 9:29. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Of course.
Today,
Thanks
Sarah.
for having me.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. All right, social media. Hey, y'all have a good day. Be blessed.